Got in the replay from Jepadu and Nabla with a gun. I believe that's Melonhead. I believe. But for now, it's Nablar with a gun. Jepardu bringing 2 Harganeth Executioners versus the Lizardmen. Okay, some armor piercing, high weapon strength. Not bonus versus large. So I do wonder about that. And the Lizards usually go mostly just like Skink Tide, so I don't know what you need such elite infantry blenders for, but we'll see. So for the rest of the Dark Elf build, we have Bleak Swords, Cold One Knights, Dark Shards, and then 2 Harganeth Executioners, and a Supreme Sorceress of Dark on her Dragon with Soul Stealer and her Breath Attack. On the other side for the Lizardmen, a bunch of Cold One Riders, Cold One Spear Riders, so really spamming those out. Then we have a Bastildon Solar Engine, a Life Slan with Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood, front line of Dart Skinks, including the cohort of Sotek Red Crested Skinks ROR, and the Ripperdactyl Rider, Regiment of Renown, the Colossal Hunters. Cool, cool. Armies squaring off. Stilodon, more than happy to fire a couple sunbeams at the enemy before they need to actually get into the melee. Because the Dark Elves pretty handedly outclass them in the melee. 2 Harganeth Executioners and a bunch of Bleak Swords versus random Skinks is not a winning formula for the Lizardmen. The Lizardmen have an advantage in their cavalry, including the flying cavalry of the Colossal Hunters, so I think it's a bit of a wash in the single entities. I mean, a Slan and a Solar Engine is a lot of supportive power, but a Dark Elf Sorceress on a Dragon with Soul Stealer is a decent melee combatant, so it's kind of like, eh. I don't think either SE core is better or worse than the other. They just do different things. So we'll have to see if the Cold One Riders can get out a lot of damage. That's where a lot of Lizardman damage is. Breath Attack down onto the Dart Skinks. Half their HP before the Bleak Swords get in there and should be able to finish that off relatively quickly. Relatively. Harganeth Executioners moving up slowly but surely. One gets hit with a little Awakening of the Wood. Meanwhile, the Bastildon's trying to debuff the accuracy of the Dark Shards while poking them a little bit. And Colossal Hunters are trying to get a good surround on the Supreme Sorceress. They do so, but I wonder about this. They're in front of Cold One Knights and in front of Dark Shards, and she has the Opal Amulet, and she has Soul Stealer to heal up a little bit. So this could be just a bait. Flesh to Stone gives them 60% physical resistance, 69, nice, because of the Slan's spell mastery, but a Soul Stealer hits them and the Cold One Spear Riders. The Dark Shards really need to pivot and start firing at that blob fight, but it looks like they're going somewhere else entirely. As Harganeth Executioners get into a fight with Cold One Knights in the Court of Sotek, that should be a pretty good fight for them. Behind them go other Cold One Riders. The Harganeth Executioners try and stop some of them with their bodies, but it's really not going their way. And the Slan plus a Cold One Charge should take out both of the Dark Shards. One is attacked by Velociraptors, the other one's getting hit with a ball of light. Resources of Dark, as we thought, did escape safe and sound with her damage resistance and healing. She's just fine. Cold One Knights having a less good time of it, but overall decent fight for the Dark Elves here. Colossal Hunters very damaged, Cold One Knights very damaged, as they are also stuck fighting Harganeth Executioners. But it is what it is. Another Breath Attack down, taking out the Cold One Spear Riders. The Dark Elves doing a lot of good damage to the enemy mobility, which was their largely stronger position. Still have both Harganeth Executioners relatively healthy going into this late game, so infantry shouldn't be a problem. And this Dark Sorceress was ominously above the Life Slan, but she's actually ignoring it. She is trying to go help out these cav fights instead, just more guaranteed value than maybe damaging a very tanky Frogman who's then just going to heal himself and continue to be a big problem. Dark Shards turn and fire at him for a little bit of poke damage. And how are we doing on the Lizardmen cav? Golden Spear Rider just below half HP, Colossal Hunters below half HP, and that is really it. So great job by the Dark Elves to target all those things. Awakening the Wood coming down for the last healthy Cold One Knight. On the other side, though, I mean, there is one healthy Cold One Knight, and that's about it for the Dark Elves. I don't see shit as I'm spinning. So we'll see if the Lizards can kill that last Cold One Knight, then maybe there's still a shot in this game. Balance power is 50-50. I just don't know where the damage is going to come from personally. Colossal Hunters and the Cold One Spear Riders back in it, getting really good damage down on the Cold One Knights, but in comes the Soul Stealer, and again, if we get into the late game and all your cav is dead, I don't know what stops this Dragon Lord from just cycle charging her way to infinity. The Slan can't fight her in melee, the Solar Engine can't fight her in melee, so one uses another shot on Dark Shards, taking them out. But I think the late game's gonna come down to a Dragon Lord and Harganeth Executioners blending through all the Lizardmen. We will see. As the last Cold One Knight is gone, Cold One Spear Riders barely clinging to life with cold-blooded leadership buffs. The Klosta Hunters are retreating. 2 models left, so even if they get Earthbloods, there isn't that much healing for them. And I haven't really noticed a ton of healing coming from the Life Salon. I've seen a lot of Awakenings of the Wood, but I don't actually know how many true spells he's used. 1 Harganeth Executioner is down. How much value did they get? Pretty decent. 827 is not bad for an elite infantry. I mean, they cost a little over 1,000, but not too much, I don't think. They didn't pay for themselves, but it's not terrible. Not terrible. Another Bound Banishment coming out. The Harganeth Executioners almost ran right into it, but do peel away at the last second, so nice dodge overall. Cold One Spear Riders, very low on leadership, but did get a good surround on the Supreme Sorcerer's Dark. Got some decent damage on her before Terror routing off. Bounce power is still almost 50-50. It is slightly in Lizardmen's favor, as an Awakening of the Wood does damage to the Harganeth Executioners, and the Banishment manages to still find the Bleak Swords after they dodged it, so it must have really gone hard after them. Harganeth lads killing off random skinks. And the Dark Elves hold the point, which is pretty significant, meaning the Harganeth Executioners, worst comes to worst, can just take shelter on that point. Oh, we have Flesh to Stone. Yeah, I have seen a couple Flesh to Stone casts, so really not a lot of Earthbloods here from the Life Salon, just Flesh to Stones and Awakening of the Wood. Golden Spear Riders getting the Shield, the Old Ones, and the Flesh to Stone. That is a lot of damage resistance because it's essentially all ward save. There's no magic damage here for the Dark Elves, at least besides Soul Stealer. Burn Sorceress taking damage. Harganeth Executioners holding for now, and Terror Routes are starting to come in. The Dark Elves are down the balance of power, but I don't know. I have faith. I believe in the Dark Elf Sorceress to be able to clear out all this crap. And the Harganeth Executioners, I'd try to believe in you, but your leadership is apparently just falling apart. So you guys need to get it together and get it together quickly. Golden Spear Riders charging back into those guys as the Harganeth Executioners try and finish off the Cohort of Sotek and these other skinks. And Earthblood, much needed on the Golden Spear Riders, so we're just trying to chase down Bleak Swords. They're trying not to fight the Harganeth Executioners right now. They want to refresh their charge bonus, but also just get a little bit of healing. Supreme Sorcerer's having a tough time. Her only spell is Soul Stealer, so I have to think there's another Soul Stealer coming soon. It's been a decently long game. I haven't seen too many Soul Stealers out. So if she can get a nice big Soul Stealer, finish off some of these cav, and heal herself up, that would be huge, because the cavalry are trying to just keep running away and healing, so there we go. These guys all shattered, so that's great. Now go and use your Soul Stealer on these last 2 Cold One Spear Riders, and the game should be yours, because the bounce power is bad, but like, really, if you heal yourself up while shattering their guys, this could swing pretty heavily in the Dark Elf's favor, so it should be fine. Harganeth Executioner still trying to kill. They're now trying to focus the Salon. As a person with OCD, I just really want that Cohort of Sotek to be eliminated just to get one more battlefield flag out of my way. Using the Salon for cover, pretty crafty Dark Elves. He has 3 volleys left. He's currently showing the Obstructed. Everything you want a Soul Stealer is blobbing up near the point. Now it's coming over to you. Really, if there is no Soul Stealer, Dark Elves lose, but I have assumed that there is another Soul Stealer ready to go. Usually the Dark Elves get close to heal capping the Dragon Lords if they use their Soul Stealer as well, and I feel like she's been very cagey with them. There it is. Did you wait too long? I'm really worried they're going to get army loss before they get that Soul Stealer really off, but it looks like Terror Routes are going to save the day. Soul Stealer comes down, shatters off one of the Cold One Spear Riders. The Klosta Hunters and the other Cold One Spear Rider both got hit with the thing, and there you go. All the mobility is gone for Lizardman. The balance of power swung back towards the middle like I said it would. It honestly didn't come as far towards the middle as I thought. But a nice breath attack on the face of that Bastillodon. Harganeth Executioners are going to go deal with the Skinks. The Dragon is going to deal with the Salon and the Bastillodon. It should be fine. Significantly better combat stats for this Dragon. Salon's going to hop in and help out, but also has pretty bad combat stats. Cold One Knight's going to offer a little bit of support. The Dark Elf Lore doesn't have to stay here. Her leadership's getting pretty low, so she can back off, refresh her charge bonus. She's fine. She has Harganeth Executioners to fall back to if she really needs it. The Bastillodon's out of ammo, so he's gotta just be a melee monster for the rest of the game. Skinks shatter. It's officially 2. The Lizardmen have no more reinforcements, just these 2 monsters. The Executioners surround the Bastillodon, getting good damage with their armor piercing. Their leadership is really low, but they are immune to psychology. Still not going to be enough. Yes, they rally. 5, now 8 leadership as they're going to continue to pummel that Bastillodon. Supreme Sorcerer is getting a lot of damage down on the Salon Mage of Life, but she gets rear charged by the Bastillodon. Okay, all right, okay. This guy is still firing poison darts off his side from those little dart skinks, so that's constant annoying damage as the Hargonite Executioners think about leaving. Shield the old ones and cold-blooded, giving the Salon a lot of extra leadership. The Hargonite Executioners get abandoned by their lord. She's refreshing her charge bonus, I know that, but they don't know that. They think she's leaving, so they immediately rout. They have to have gotten good value. They've been in the fight for so long. Yeah, 1400, not bad. Not bad at all. There is another Soul Stealer. Ugh, my earlier fears of not having Soul Stealers appear to be unfounded because they just threw out 2 in a pretty short amount of time in the late game, and that is going to be GG. Bounce power swings heavily in the favor of the Dark Elves. And that is that. Damn, dude. So that earlier point where I was like, surely there's a Soul Stealer now. They had to have the Winds of Magic then. Because they ripped out 2 in about 2.5 minutes. So if at that time, right, if at that time they were charging up just to get enough to cast 1 Soul Stealer, please give me 1 Soul Stealer, please, all that shit, then there's no way that they would get the Winds of Magic necessary to cast another one after 2.5 minutes. So I guess he was just really confident in his Dark Elf Lord's leadership, and that was a confidence I did not have. I thought he would have chucked it earlier when the Closton Hunters was with both of those Cold One Knights under the capture point. I thought he was just going to chuck it over there, route those units before they even get a charge bonus on him, and before they could get any more healing. And then get the healing for his lord and continue to fight the Slann, but Jepadu's ballsy. 3,500 damage value for his Dragon Healing Caster. Hargonite Executioners did pretty well compared to the Bleak Swords, who didn't do shit, and the Golden Knights got really good value. For Noblar with a gun, 1,400 value for his Slann, 800 for the cohort of Sotek. Cold One Riders, overall pretty good if you average them all out. Claws Hunters did fine, and Solar Engine did fine. GG's. Rawr. Subscribe, yes.